So the main problem with our SOEs is, according to my opinion, is that we run in a lot of sectors, looking at banking and finance and insurance, and to from banking and finance to insurance to tourism and also to retail businesses. The state is involved in many of these things. But the real problem is, are these SOEs making real profits? Are these SOEs adding to the economy? But if these businesses are necessarily making losses, is there any value addition to the economy? If not, are they only burdening the state coffers, and also is it only a burden on our public finances and thereby the taxpayer? So that is the necessary thing that we all need to think about and initiate and create the initiative for SOE reform. So if you really think about this thing, I think not only our policymakers, but also the general public will be convinced that yes, we need to reform our SOEs. We need to go for state owned enterprise reforms. I think the best example is Sri Lankan Airlines. For From 2008 onwards, the losses it has been racking up has exceeded billions of amounts by now. So, and also the debt racked up on their accounts has also exceeded a significant amount. But also, we saw that at the same time, when Sri Lankan Airlines was facing the same situation, Air India was also going through a similar financial situation. But after the COVID 19 crisis, India decided to go for a privatization. So, what do you think is what we could learn from this experience of India?
I think you've tackled the question, and I think you brought the conversation to a very important point, right? Now, what I would initially, like to say is, I think we've been, going around the mulberry bush around this concept of whether these SOEs are important, whether SOEs being led by the government is important, right? I think it is a proven, I mean, global examples exist that the more the government gets rid of their state-owned enterprises, the more growth they have achieved. Vietnam, where we now like all economists in this country, and everyone's talking about Vietnam, because it definitely has great examples for sure. But if we were emulating Vietnam, then we would have got rid of our SOEs in 2005. Vietnam brought in the initial action plan, which started, I believe, with about 40 SOEs back in 2004, 2005, right? And today you see the amount of growth Vietnam has achieved just by getting rid of about 30 to 40 SOEs. I think you've highlighted, you brought in the concept of profit, and I think there is also this narrative that that one that issue with privatizing SOEs is that they will be profit led and profit motivated. But I think one must look beyond profit. For sure, profit is important, and the kind of revenue that it will generate to the state can definitely have a great impact. In our case, on debt repayments. So that's that. I think that message has to go out to the people. But something else that I would like to add, Anuka, is the importance of value addition that privatization brings, especially if you can bring in international players. Let's look at 2000 to 2005, where we had, I would say, let's look at 1994 to 2005, where we had international players like Emirates, Maersk, international port operators coming in. The kind of value addition they brought and created, and even to this day, it is a significant driver of our growth and the kind of value addition that we create as a country, right? So I think most importantly, people miss this point because they just think from a profit perspective, but the spillover effects and the kind of accelerate as an accelerator of growth privatization brings is significant. And one you spoke of Air India, right? I think it was a given consensus, especially in India, that the state should not run the airline, right? I think we need that kind of consensus amongst people. I think as I said, we've been, hopping around and running around the mulberry bush for too long. I think this crisis is the best example to once and for all get rid of all our SOEs. And of course, it has to be done in a very transparent manner, where there is accountability, where you also maintain the highest level of governance, because only then can you attract international players. Only then can you attract the best companies to come and run your organizations. So I think that's another important point that we should probably carry as well.
Of course.